has it made your job more difficult to have to reload every year, or how do you look at it?
I wouldn't say difficult. It's a bit it's a bit challenging at times. I wouldn't necessarily say difficult because every coach is going through it, even at the Power Four. Believe it or not, Michigan is going to have to, uh, recruit hard to be able to get. Because again, with the resources being the way they are, some of these kids will take more money and less playing time. Some of these kids will take the money and won't even care what the plan is to help them develop and get better as a player. Because they just, it's money numbers that they've never seen before, and it's hard to blame them. But every coach has got a tough task right now in recruiting, even the most successful ones, the Michigans, the UConns, the Dukes, UCLA, U of H. I mean, everybody. I mean, they have a tough time in recruiting. So we just got to get to work and make sure we're selling the right things, and hopefully development and being a part of a winning program are paramount with these young people. And if it is, then I think we got a chance to continue to attract some quality players for sure.
Let me also ask you this, Coach. What kind of advantage does it give you, Coach, being that you will be back next year and you will be coaching, and there are several programs out there that are still looking for a coach?
I hope that it'll give us an advantage because right now we're telling kids that you got to come here because we do have a coach. That program that was recruiting you or is recruiting you, that coach has decided to take his talents elsewhere. But I think stability is good. I think experience is good. I think having a plan in place and letting these kids know, hey, we've been here for a long time at Prairie View, and this will be a good destination for you because stability is really, really, really important. So yeah, we're definitely using whatever we can to be able to gain a recruiting advantage and to be able to attract the right type of student athletes to come to our program.
One of the viewers, Kenya, brought up, made a comment called player development. It with roster turnover every year, is player development a thing of the past, or how is player development part of your program?
It's not a thing of the past. It's something that you have to continue to try to have in your program because there are players who do want to develop and get better. It's just that you don't have as much time. Once upon a time, you're recruiting a kid, you're going to have him, I say a minimum of 2 years, right? And then if you're fortunate, 3, and if you're blessed, 4. And so you could spread the development piece out, working on this right now, the basic stuff, then we'll gradually move up. But now, since it's a pretty much getting 1-year rentals because of the transfer portal, being fluid, you just got to speed things up. But I'm a big player development person. That's how I got into this business because of my reputation to develop players and help them get better. That's always going to be paramount with Prairie View or wherever I'm working at. It's going to be very, very important. But it's just you have to speed it up a bit more now because the clock is ticking when you get a kid on campus.
Coach, looking at your bio, you came right in behind you. I know you went to junior college, but you played at University of Houston, basically right after those 5 Slamma Jamma teams.
Right.
But teams that people knew and they built together 3-4 year teams. And then you talked about Michigan, and I saw this graphic which blew my mind that all 5 Michigan starters were all transfers, which is the first time ever. Not to say that'll probably be what it is going forward. How much is somebody who played in an era where you saw crews of players coming in together, building together, making runs and things like that? How much of that do you think is that going to hurt basketball? But people saying record ratings and, people can upload. But me, like I say, going back to, I'm a Carolina fan. And I remember those Houston teams, the Louisville teams, teams that you saw these guys grow up together. You know what I mean? Georgetown, watching those guys go from freshmen to seniors.
Right.
I think we lose a little bit of that because like the kid Vandenberg or whatever from Michigan, I didn't even know, you talk about the Fab Five. I was in college when the Fab Five, those guys like 2 years younger than me. I remember that those guys coming in as freshmen, Chris Webberlina, sophomore, and those guys matriculating through. How much do you think that really is going to hurt college basketball? I know we've had the one and dones, but now with this shuffling and things like that.
I think you have a lot of good teams. I don't think because of this, having a short window to have kids, I don't think you're going to have a lot of great programs. Obviously, UConn has been able to keep the kid, Carabine, I think's his name. He's been there 4 years, retired his jersey, Hall of Fame player. That's rare to be able to get that, but that just shows the type of character that he has and the loyalty that he has, which is rare in intercollegiate athletics. But I just think you can have good teams. But I think because it's hard to keep continuity and and player retention is very, very, very hard. I just don't think you're going to have as many great programs, and I don't think you'll see many teams having a chance to be able to repeat. Obviously, UConn did it back to back, which shows that that was a special group, and Danny Hurley did a great job with them. But I can't say Michigan won't have a chance to repeat, but I just think it'll be difficult because it's going to be guys on that team that won the championship, just like they're going to leave, just like what the guy said last year. Florida lost guys last year. They won the championship. I mean, what's more important than winning a championship, a national championship? Why would you leave that, right? And but the resources are paramount. I mean, that's at the forefront now, unfortunately. But I think you could be good, but I just think it's hard to be great because you're just having guys checking out all the time and key players checking out all the time.
Hey, Coach, I gotta ask you a question, Coach, because I just had a flashback, Coach. Were you Robert Pack's roommate in college?
No, Robert Pack was my roommate in college.
Okay, so
Right.
check this year out, Coach. My name is Rocky Miller, and I was at TJC with you back in the day. I played football, of course, down the hall with Moon. You were on one end of the hall, and I was on the other end of the hall with Tyrone Montgomery.
Absolutely, Ty Montgomery, Mississippi's greatest. I love Ty. I remember Moon, but Moon was from Lufkin, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and I was his roommate. Absolutely.
I remember the name. Well, hey, a fellow Apache. Good to know that. Yeah,
I would. That's funny.
It is.
Funny. Yeah, we were at Marquise and Roosevelt and all those guys.
Absolutely.
AC was my homeboy.
Okay, I got you. Okay, and Darren Turner was there.
Oh yeah,
DT. Ivor Lee Brown was a NFL guy.
Darren
Terry. Yeah.
I
remember that.
We was all there together. Coach, small world, Coach.
Small world. Yes, indeed. We
should say Robert Pack was your roommate.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, we were able to do some good things that time.
Absolutely.
Rob Pack was there for 2 years. I went there for the 1 year.
You transferred in, but for sure. Man, this is a small world, Coach. Something about your voice and everything was familiar, and I looked, and when you said you went to Houston, I looked over and I said, he went to TJC? I say, that's the brother from Bossier City.
There you go.
That was in the room with Pat.
There you go. Yeah. Pack, hey, Pack's a lucky man. He had a chance to spend some time with me for a year, so he's a lucky guy.
Coach, you the one to help him get you the league. That's what it was, Coach.
I'm the sole reason he got there. Me, God, and his mother. The reason why he got there. Absolutely.
He started with let us know he was from the West Bank, wasn't there?
There you go. New Orleans. There you go. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Coach, I want to ask you this question. Now, looking at, again, you coach with, Mark Turgeon, Texas A&M stuff. But, Coach, there's one part in your resume that we got to talk about. Okay. A lot of people may or may not know. Coach, you coached the Harlem Globetrotters.
I did.
The greatest show. Coach, first of all, how did you end up being the coach of the Harlem Globetrotters? And what was that experience?
I mean, great experience. I think all people grew up watching it on Saturday mornings as kids, and whenever they would come on. I mean, so it's a part of the American history and American fabric. So just people that I knew. We had some guys in the Houston area that were a part of it, and I had good relationships. And obviously, they do a lot of the show stuff, but they also have a serious component as well of getting in shape and conditioning and working on their skills, because you still got to pass the basketball and make shots and stuff. So they wanted to bring in a real coach that could work with them on their skills and stuff, and just kind of be there. Now with the trick stuff, I didn't coach that because that wasn't my deal,
right.
But just being there to work with them on their skills and a bit of their conditioning and stuff like that, because it's a grind. Them guys are, on the road, 50 nights a year, if not more, consecutive, back-to-back nights and stuff like that. So that's a physical grind and a toll on the body. So you got to be in shape to be able to keep up, even though you may not be, it may not be as strenuous as a 48-minute or a 40-minute basketball game, but you still gotta be in some type of shape, your muscles and things like that, and your skills and hand-eye coordination, all that stuff. So I had an opportunity to be out there for a year. It was a great experience, something that people talk to me about all the time. But at the same time, like you say, some people may not know. But I'm definitely blessed to have an opportunity to be a part of that prestigious organization for sure.
Coach, let me ask you this, and we're talking about so much upheaval. Several of your counterparts have basically taken jobs to be assistant coaches, you know, moved up to, you know, the Power 4 schools and stuff like that. You have coaches like Roy Williams, Mike Krzyzewski, and guys like that, Jim Boeheim, they left the game because of certain things. Is that kind of trickling down where, you know, guys are saying, hey, you know, and coach, like I said, this is tough. Your job is, like you say, resource that you're working on, respect, things like that. Is this me? And again, we're not talking about any particular coach because everybody had their, but I was kind of shocked when I saw 3 really good coaches, you know what I mean, that are leaving our league. Is this something that maybe guys are like, you know, hey, because of what's going on and, you know, and the resources and things like that, I'm going to maybe, you know, step back from being a head coach and kind of just be somebody that can help somebody work on their craft or something like, or just something, just an abnormality of this year?
No, I'll be very honest with you guys. And I alluded to this earlier with the mainstream media not really giving the Southwestern Athletic Conference, I think, the respect that we deserve. And so coaches want to have a chance to, coach at another level. I think we all have aspirations to do that. And I don't think it's just financially driven. I think it's just, you know, the challenge of coaching at another level. But because of, I think, the lack of respect that mainstream media gives us, the only way we're able to move, the only way we have been able to move is by taking an assistant's job, going somewhere, helping someone win, and then having that person, unfortunately, but it's just a reality which we live. Having Nate Oates, having Bill Self, having a Kelvin Sampson, having a Dusty May, having a Danny Hurley get on the phone and call that AD or call that search firm and say, hey, Byron Smith is your guy. I believe in this guy. He's ready to be a head coach at this level. You should really think long and hard about giving this guy an opportunity. And that's just a fact. I don't think it has anything to do with a trend or just something that's going on right now. These guys want to coach in the Conference USA. They want to coach in the Sun Belt, and they're capable. I think we've got some of the best coaches in the country, right? But because of the way things are and how things are structured, we just don't get the respect I think that we deserve. And I'm not complaining about it because to have a job anywhere in college basketball, I think is a blessing. I'm thankful, you know, for where I am, and I know those guys were as well. But I just think those guys want to step out and have an opportunity to go to another level. And that's unfortunately or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, that's just the route that we have to go. I'll give you an example. There was a coach there on the football side that was coaching in the SWAC 3 years ago. And he told me this because I have a relationship with him. He went for, it wasn't a Power 4 job, but it was a mid-major job in Conference USA. And he was the head coach at a SWAC school, and he did a great job. I mean, won some championships at this SWAC school. And I think he talked to the athletic director about the position. The school was in Florida, but the athletic director said he needed a little bit more, I guess, high major experience. And so the guy couldn't even get an interview for this particular job. So he decides to go the same route. So he takes a running backs coach job at a Power 4 for 1 year. And after that 1 year was up, he was able to get that same job that 3 years before he couldn't even get an interview. You understand what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm saying is it sounds better for them to say that, hey, you know what, we hired the assistant head coach at Florida State as opposed to we hired the head coach at, I don't know, North Carolina A&T. So I guess it sounds better. I guess it makes them, you know, feel better about that. But I just think it's kind of disrespectful to where we are. I don't think it's just blatant disrespect for Byron Smith or Johnnie Jones or Mo Williams, but I just think it's our league. They just don't give us what I think we've earned and what we deserve.
Well, Coach, I'm going to say one thing before I know Rocky's got a question. First of all, I went to Florida A&M. As soon as you said that story, I knew exactly what you was talking about. So I'm going to say that right there.
Smart man.
Yeah, absolutely. and we understood that, and it does hurt. But I'm going to say that's the reason why, Coach, and shout out to Coach Cole, while we had the HBCU Coaches Corner. Because, right. Coach, I will say this: we are not mainstream media, but we are media, and people do watch. And I'm talking about people at very high levels, because I know a whole bunch of people, and they text me all the time about a great interview. And this is going to be another one of those great interviews. So now, Coach, I will tell you, because I don't want you to go anywhere.
Right.
But if you do get a phone call after this, that's because of me. I'm just letting you know.
I got you. Hey, the check will be in the mail. Send me your
Okay, I
address.
just want to make sure you got me covered. That's all I want to make sure.
Hey, Coach Smith, I'm interested to get your opinion on this, if you could comment about it.
Okay.
It seemed like when I was a young man, and when guys were coming through college and wanting to coach, for a black coach, basketball was the opportunity to be a leader, a real leader, right? Football really wasn't that opportunity. You weren't going to ascend to be a head coach at football, and a lot of that is still a challenge here today. But basketball used to be the path. We had guys like Nolan Richardson and
John Thompson,
and
John Chaney.
John Chaney. There were so many guys, and we're doing it at a very high level, Coach.
Bethune-Cookman, just shout out to John Taylor, had to put that out there. Bethune-Cookman.
But
College.
now it seems like those opportunities, for some reason, in basketball are dwindling for black coaches.
Right.
What do you think is happening in the sport to where it used to seemed like there was a lot of opportunities for black men to be advanced to the top position, whereas now it seems like they're going for younger white coaches rather than seasoned black head coaches?
Right. I think balance. I don't ever play the race card, but I just think it's a fact that the NBA is predominantly, in college basketballs, probably 75, maybe 80, maybe even a higher percentage of African Americans who occupy the playing positions. And I think that they just want balance. And so I think with the implementation of the analytics, I think that's kind of ex players out. Like guys that played the game, and it used to be something that was welcomed and looked for, because players understood players, right? And they could really help. A former player could help a current player probably as much as anyone, because he knows the routine, the training, the thinking, the schedule, all that type of stuff. But I just think now with this implementation of I'll give you an example, like a Dusty May. Dusty May, I don't know if he's ever picked up a basketball as a player. I know he was a manager in Indiana for Bobby Knight, right? And so the managers are today's head coaches as well, because of the analytical way that they go about doing things. And the game is heavily analytically dosed now, right? I mean, it's just kind of taken over. I think it's hurt the game, analytics, more than it's helped, because what it does is now it makes guys pass up opportunities that that they may have an opportunity to have an easier path to score a basket, but because it's not coming from where the experts say that it needs to come from, I think it hurts the game. So I don't think it's a racial thing. I think it's just more about having balance, that they want this game to be represented by all different types. Obviously, with the European influx of guys coming over, now when you got the people over in the Middle East that are getting involved in American sports from a sponsorship standpoint, I think the NBA and college is so global now, in large part because of the resources that sponsorship, especially with the NBA. I think that Adam Silver wants everybody to have a seat at the table from all walks of life, from all different countries. And I think the NCAA, probably not as much as the NBA, but I think that I think it helps our game for it to be a global game. But I think they just want it to be a little bit more balanced. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, I could be right, but that's just how I see it.
But yeah, it just seems like in basketball, back when I was in my 30s, early 30s, there were 3 or 4 black coaches in every major conference.
Right.
And even if they weren't successful, they wouldn't shy away from hiring another one or whatever. But it seems like now that's not the case, and the coaches at that level, at the at the highest level, just aren't given the opportunity. Because you look forward to guys like who were assistant coaches for a long time, guys like Rod Strickland and even guys like Melvin Hunt. You may be familiar with, whatever. You thought those guys would eventually get head coaching jobs when they were younger guys, and it never materialized. So
it should have. It should have. Yeah, it should have. I mean, those guys, those are 2 great candidates. I played against Melvin in college. He was at Baylor. I was at Houston. So he's a Louisiana guy like I am. So I root for Melvin, and I thought he was doing a great job as an assistant coach in the NBA, and I thought he was ascending to becoming a head coach. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. Now he's at Baylor in the college game now. Rod Strickland is at LIU Brooklyn. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but I mean, why not, be the head coach at NC State? Why not be the, head coach at TCU? I think he's overly qualified, a heck of a player, and obviously he's paid his dues as being an assistant coach, for a while there at Kentucky or Memphis, wherever he was with Cal. So those are two great names that I think probably have gotten overlooked. But it's still early. Those guys are young enough. They keep working at it. Maybe they'll get those opportunities.
They're our age, coach. They're our age.
That's young, right? That's young, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
But coach, listen, you just lit a fire under me, coach. Because here's the thing. And again, I know that you, like I said, you matriculated through PWI school, so nothing like that. But I'm sitting up here listening to you, and I'm gonna use some of the buzz. You're articulate. You're clean cut. You believe in God. Some of the things that they say people have. But what do we, because when you said analytics, is this something that, I know you guys have the Black Coaches Association. Is this something that you guys, when you get in that room and say, okay, we see they're changing the rules again, because we've always been able to adapt. John Thompson talked about this when they changed it up on, on those guys, him and Nolan Richardson when they were coming through. He said, hey, we just want to have a chance to fail, and
Absolutely.
things like that. So, because coach, one thing I always hear this because we see, and Rocky and I talk about this on football, and we hear, because I'll tell you one thing, I know doggone well you would shoot Dustin me out the gym. So I can already know that and stuff like that. Let's keep it a buck.
Steph Curry too.
Hey, coach. Yeah, you had that confidence back then too, coach.
But what do we do? Because as you said, now they're changing the game to always make it a pathway. But I know us as HBCU alums, as successful Black men, we know how to adapt. So is this something that the coach said, okay, this is an analytics game. Let's start learning this type of style and what they're doing and things like that. Start to implement that, because on the football side, and again, I know we got some basketball guys here, but on the football side, we were the founders and historically created the offenses and the defenses. Again, you look at it, the gunslinger and my coach down there, Jake Gaither and Eddie Robinson, the white coaches came to them to learn it. So is this something that, as you guys, again, because I know you have a powerful group with the basketball coach especially, it got together and say, hey, you know what? We're not going to let this trend. Oh, I hope you have lost him. I think the man might have cut him off, Rocky.
That's funny, man. What's interesting about this, I hope Coach Smith comes back, is that you realize that somebody's name is familiar. Yeah. And then when you hear them talk, their voices are familiar and you can't quite place it. And you realize the guy lived for a whole year. He lived down the hall from you in Tyler Junior College, man. And so it's really small world. That's really neat. He mentioned some guys' names that I hadn't thought about in years. And again, I'm surprised you guys knew right away who Robert Pack was, because literally Robert Pack was his roommate in college. Before University of Houston for Coach Smith and before USC for Pack. They both lived down the hall from me.
Yeah, well, Pack's my guy. So like I told you, Pup is my guy, Kevin. And so I used to throw parties.
That's right. Yeah, they were in Dallas in the 90s.
What happened? Yeah, so you're down in Dallas. He was playing at the Mavericks, so we all would hang out. And then, of course, when Essence Fest would come, we would come up, and Pack would have a Pack Gives Back party on Saturday, and we would throw our party on Friday. So I always been down with Pack. Oh, yeah, all right, Coach. I got kind of nervous.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
No, you good, Coach. You good. No, I was just telling them how small the world is, that we lived down the hall from each other for a year, and I recognized your voice, and it just took me to see that you had that TJC history to realize that's the light-skinned brother that was in the room with Pat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because people that don't know, in Holly Hall, when you come down that hallway, everybody has to walk by you and Pac's room right there.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You got a great memory.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted you, because I think this is such an important conversation. And because remember, too, we've got young men that are looking up to you that want to be coaches and stuff like that. So kind of talk about what you talked about, the analytics, and what, again, the Black Coaches Association is doing to, confront that and prepare coaches to be able to get these jobs, because now they've added this as another stepping stone?
I think that it's important for you to always remain yourself. Like, don't change who you are, but you don't have to break, but you can bend a little bit. And I definitely think probably learning analytics a little bit, probably just, the basic stuff of analytics, that if it's ever something that is a requirement that you prepare, it's better to have something not needed, not have it. But I don't think that you go away from who you are, because your greatest skill set is someone needs it, right? What you're really good at, some program needs it, and it's all about timing. And if you're patient, obviously you got to stay prayed up. And when God's ready to move and move you, He's going to move you. I mean, obviously promotion comes from above, but I definitely don't think anything is wrong with learning a new way of teaching the game. But I definitely think you have to stick to who you are as a person, and always go with your go-to and what got you in the building in coaching. But I definitely think, again, learning the analytics a little bit probably wouldn't hurt.
Coach, I like I say, I appreciate you, being on, because I think a lot of what happens is we don't know these things as fans, right? Like Rocky
Right.
said, we see things,
hmm
and we know something is going on. And again,
hmm
when I mean going on, what has changed? And I'm glad that you were able to express that, because I think what's important for us, and again, as fans and things like that, is that we support coaches like yourself. You know what I mean?
hmm
I'm always Prairie View. I know I love them folks now. I've always
hmm
talked highly about them and things like that. Coach T-Jack is my guy. But one of the things, when I see schools, because I did a show literally, I would love to see one of our schools, because we had Nolan Smith on. I believe in the SWAC, we can have schools that could be a mid-major, a high mid-major level school that could go make runs.
Right.
Because like you say, of what we have, the proximity where we're at, and
Mhm.
again, but we got to be able to invest into that again. And that goes back, because Coach, you're doing your thing, but the alumni's got to say, Coach, and Coach Nolan Smith talked about it. Hey man, it's a bunch of cats in DC that'll come down and play with me. But I got $8,000.
Right.
And there's ballers in DC and DMV.
Yes. Yes.
So what can we do to get them to the FAMUs, the Prairie Views, the Southern Jack State? And Coach, you notice, to make a run, like I say, Coach, you play big time. You only need two guys to make a run. A
Right.
solid team and two guys that can go get a bucket. So
Yeah.
this is my thing. Let's go get those two guys that can go get a bucket. They're not no $100,000 guys. Those are
Right.
guys that are hungry, that are shot makers, because it's so many basketball players, as you well know, which look at what you did to get to the turn and beat other schools. And my thing is, so that's why I just really want us to understand there's such an opportunity because of the money. Look at what you brought in for Prairie View by winning that first 4 games and then going and playing into the tournament. Hey man, I know AD Golf is very happy with you,
I hope so. And I will tell you this, there definitely shouldn't be an issue, at least for the next few years, with us not being able to have the resources that we need. And you're right. You don't have to go out and spend $100,000 on a kid, but obviously be able to get a kid $1,000 to $2,000 a month. I think that is more than adequate to be able to, keep the young man, to be able to get the bare necessities. And again, my question when you were in recruiting, what's more important? Like a lot of money, a little playing time, or a little money and a lot of playing time? Because the playing time is what you're going to need more than anything. And you've gone, most of your life, if not all of your life, without having a lot. You can sacrifice a little bit, but I think, being comfortable. And we had an unbelievable group this year. Again, we didn't pay one player this year, right? And I can't stress that enough. We didn't pay one player on our roster this year, and look what these young men were able to do. And I'm selling that to the future recruits. Not saying that you have to accept that, but just be realistic, right? Let me say this, guys. If someone had asked me that, to have my way or to be able to implement something, I would suggest this: to make NIL or rev share, to make it private. And what I mean by private, whatever you're giving John Smith, you don't make that public, because what it does, it distorts and it messes with the next guy, right? At the next school. Well, hey, this guy's averaging 8 points a game and he's getting $20,000 a month. I'm averaging 16. I'm only getting 10, right? I'm getting robbed. I'm getting treated unfairly. They should keep it quiet. They should not disclose it. They should not make it public, because I think it upsets, and these kids lose their focus and they get distracted. And also at the end of the year, well, they're paying this over here. hey, let me go over to this program where I can get a little bit more money. I'm gonna sacrifice playing time. I'm gonna sacrifice learning. I'm gonna sacrifice being developed. Because that coach that you're playing for right there, he may have the best program for you in terms of mental, emotional, and physical development. But you're gonna go because you think the grass is greener, no pun intended, green on the other in the other program. So I think they should keep this quiet. I know President Trump is, and with the urging of Coach Saban, who they have meeting, obviously, with President Trump, trying to change some of these rules and signing different orders to be able to limit the transfers and things like that. I think that's going to continue because a lot of these top coaches are tired of having to work too hard right now. And once upon a time in football, Alabama got all the best players. Now that drove Nick Saban out of the business. He said it was the hardest year of his life. He was going to kill himself trying to keep up. Basically, what it did, it got him off of his couch. He had to get in the Buick and get up the highway in Alabama and in Louisiana and in Texas
Raise some money.
and go out and recruit and do different things. So he didn't want to do that at 70 years old. And I think that now in basketball, it's the Tom Izzos that are saying, "Hey, man, we gotta get a grip on this thing." So I don't think it's gonna get a lot better. But for us and where we are, it's not as big a deal. We just have to have some resources, moderate resources, to be able to compensate these kids, to at least make them feel like, hey, you know what? I'm getting something. I may not be getting as much as I probably want, but this will hold me over until I can get to the next level, which is the pros. I mean, it's almost like the NBA and the G League in Europe. It's almost like it's an afterthought now with some of these kids. Like, hey, man, they think about now, like tomorrow's not going to come, right? But we try to preach to them and tell them that, hey, you know what? You want to push this thing out to where you can have a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year career, be able to make you some money and be able to get off to a great start and then go into your second career. But you already have, resources that put away in the bank account or money invested, whatever, to start your family and things like that. This is what we talk about at Prairie View with kids that we recruit.
Coach, you just brought up something, and again, you've been around basketball, so you're going to understand because you said something. I wish we could make this maybe like an NDA, right? It's a contract. You don't disclose the contract, but Coach, the problem with that is because it's the agents that want to always disclose it. This is what happens.
Absolutely.
So that gets to my point, Coach. How hard is it now because of NIL and everybody now? Because we used to call them street agents.
Right.
And things like that. And in basketball, it was really bad. AAU, high school coaches, but now because it's legal. And you got guys that are telling kids, hey, you need to go in the port. I'm gonna represent you. And I used to be an agent coach. So I go and look and I see a kid call my representation, and then I go see who this guy is. Guy doesn't have any law degree. He's never been licensed in any sport, but then he's calling you, coach. Hey, I got my guy here, coach. You need to go ahead and give him, $10,000, $15,000. And he's going to get 20%, which legally, if you're NBA, it's only 3%. And then, coach, this too. And I saw a coach say this. You guys don't bid against each other. What you have is what you have. Right. So the guy is not getting anybody any more money. Right. He's just trying to find a slot. So how bad is it because now these NIL agents are now hindering the recruiting process and telling kids to jump in the portal? How are you dealing with that? And what's your thought on that?
It takes a lot of patience. Obviously, it does get frustrating. A lot of these NIL agents, if you will, are, frustrated former AAU coaches who didn't have success at the AAU level. That's how I see a lot of them, right? Because some of these guys that I talk to, I've seen them out in that back gym at that AAU tournament. Their team sucked. They weren't winning, and they got out of the AAU business. So now it becomes a hustle. It becomes a money grab, right? And really, I tell these guys all the time, like, I don't want to talk to 4 or 5 different people when this young man has got one offer from another school and Prairie View is the second offer. I shouldn't have to talk to 4 people unless it's mom, dad, grandmother, and grandfather, or an uncle, or maybe a high school coach, whatever the case may be. But I think they kind of muddy it up. I think that it makes a kid feel good. It's almost like when a kid has a trainer, right? Every kid has a trainer now, and it makes them feel good when they say my trainer. It's just me and him in the gym. Well, my agent, my NIL agent and stuff makes them feel good, right? Some of these guys, have no clue as to how to direct these kids. And I think it's something it's very critical. The parents need to take a deep look at this. This is someone that's influencing your child's decision, and probably one of the most important decisions of his or her life is where they choose to get an education. And that's serious, right? Now, if the kid was sick, right, or the kid got in some type of legal trouble, they're not going to let any Joe Blow look at their kid. They're not going to go out and hire some $2 lawyer. They're going to go try to get the best possible representation or the best possible doctor to be able to treat their kid if the kid's not well. Why not have that same approach, that same mindset to these as NIL agents and things like that? Because these people, they don't know anything about what's going on at Prairie View. So how can you tell a person that that's a good program for you? You've never been to a practice. You maybe watched a handful of our games, but watching games, that doesn't tell you what we're really all about. It may tell you how we'd like to play, but you don't know what the coach is all about, right? And I had a young man maybe a week ago, and I won't say his name, but we're recruiting him. And he told us he was interested in our program, but his NIL agent sent, after went and did a visit at his school's in Texas. After my coaches came back, the NIL agent sent us a text and said, appreciate you guys recruiting such and such, but he's going to attend this particular school up in the Midwest. And the school's in Wisconsin, and the kid is getting ready to commit there, and he's never taken an official visit to this campus. And I told the NIL agent, you know what, you should really, really be ashamed of yourself, because this is a selfish move. Well, I have a relationship with the coaching staff. You have a relationship with the coaching staff, but that doesn't determine if the kid's going to have success there or not. That's your relationship, right? But is the kid a good fit? A bird and a fish can fall in love, but where they're going to make a home, right? It's got to be a fit. So you're sending a kid up to a place that he's never visited. And in this place in Wisconsin, it gets pretty cold up there, guys. I'm pretty sure you know.
They don't even have a coat to
and
deal with what he's about to go into.
Exactly. And so I'm like, and I said, and this is what it's coming to. And I just told the guy, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I'll be honest with you, I told him, I said, you know what? I got your name. And if I ever hear your name come up in the state of Texas in terms of representing, if I know that family, I'm going to tell them to stay as far away from you as possible. I'm not a hater, but I'm just someone that I don't like foul stuff. And I think that's foul. That's selfish. And I hope the kid can make it, right? But his chances of making it up there probably not very good, because I just think he's going simply for the money. And the agent is sitting there, and of course the first thing he says, "Oh, I'm not getting anything out of it." I'm like, okay, right. You think I'm stupid?
I bet you that money is not it's not life-changing money either, is it, coach?
It's not at all. Not at all.
You know the one. Okay, so me and Steve, we had this debate all the time. I'm a money guy, meaning that I want to. First off, I'm upset at the perverted system that you and I had to play under, because a lot of nights over in Tyler, Texas, we were hungry and we were scrounging up money to walk down to the Taco Bell to try to get us a Mexican pizza or a taco.
Or trying to get enough gas to be able to drive up to Kilgore to get us a 40-ounce of beer. Because Tyler, if you remember, was a dry county, and we couldn't get any extracurricular fun in Tyler.
Coach, you know you was a church boy back then, Coach.
Hey, Coach, how many people? Wait, Coach, when y'all made that beer run, how many people was in the car, Coach?
It was like we were going to rob a bank. It was full.
Hey, and everybody's money was going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Coach,
absolutely.
Big Sandy, I think they called it, Coach.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. You're correct.
You bringing back memories, Coach.
Absolutely.
But that system we played under, Coach, was perverted in this way, is that there were people, not at TJC, but I'm talking about at the while you were at the University of Houston and other places, is that people were getting big money, Coach, but getting paid. And if you took a hamburger or a hot dog or extra slice of pizza, they threaten your eligibility, Coach. And you know those seminars and those meetings that people were sitting in, that they threaten your eligibility, and they go from that system to this system in a matter of minutes almost.
Right.
When you think about it, I just think it has this system. The parents, everybody has to get caught up to the modern system. And I think the people who are misled more than anybody is not really the kids, but I think the parents are misled because it's not the payday for a college student for most kids that parents want it to be. You understand? You still got to look at the fit as being the most important thing, and then the money being just an enhancement to their education. I'll just say that.
Absolutely.
But nowadays, people are looking at the money
Yep.
as being the reason somebody should do something.
Mhm.
And I've kind of come over to Steve's side of the fence in this regard is the fit for the player and the family has to be way more. It's way more important than anything else because the money's he's gonna buy Jordans or chains or God knows what with the money.
Right.
But the relationship with the coach and the family has to be rock solid for it all to work out.
100%. No, 100%. You're right. I mean, everything's material with these kids. It's trendy. PlayStation, 2K, those are the things that they want to spend time doing and obviously entertaining, friends, females and things like that, going out a little bit, having a nice car, whatever the case may be. So, but again, it's not life changing at our level. At the mid level, obviously at the power four, it can be some situations where AJ DeBonza, getting $7-8 million. Some of these other kids getting, crazy amounts of money. But even with that, if the financial literacy is not there and they don't know how to manage it, because again, if you take a family that's making $60,000 a year and then all of a sudden they get this 2.5 or $3 million check, if learning how to manage it, I mean, it's just a whole nother layer that you have to look at, right? And so that money is just not going to take care of itself. You got to know how to do it, what to do with it. You have tax implications. I mean, a lot of things that go with that. So the full financial literacy is that agent, is that person going to be is equipped to be able to help you, to be able to guide you and your family in terms of investing and things of that nature. So it's a whole, like I said, a whole other layer that I don't think these kids are prepared for to be able to handle. But again, I think again, it's not going anywhere. I think they're going to try to modify it a little bit and try to slow it down a little bit. But I think it's right now it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. These kids are transferring at alarming rates, and it's all because of the dollar.
Is that why you guys? Let me just ask you this, Coach, before we go. Is that why the older kids seem to be easier to deal with than the kids coming into college? Because I find that even when I talk to football coaches, they rather deal with the kid that's already gotten a little money,
right? Yes.
Been a few places,
yes,
rather than dealing with someone coming straight out of high school.
100%. I'll give you a great example. The kid Dante Horn, who I think he lit college basketball up this year. I mean, a heck of a basketball player, and he recruited us. We didn't really recruit him, but obviously he was at Texas State and he was at Georgia Southern, and I think he did get, a pretty good little payday. Wasn't anything life changing, but he told us he's not even worried about NIL. I mean, and that was music to our ears. We knew he was good, didn't know he was quite that good, but that's rare. Now we're out looking for a replica of Dante Horn, right? Someone that's going to come in and put up major numbers, but not looking for a crazy payday. Not sure it's going to happen, but that's rare. But if you can get a young person like that, but again, Dante understood. He's mature, tremendous personality, got a great family. He wanted to be a professional basketball player for 8 to 10, 12 years. And he knew it was very important for him to find a program in his last year that's going to give him the opportunity to be on the floor for 30 plus minutes so he can go out and show the world his talents. He did that. It worked out for him. So it's a success story. Now he could have chased the money and played, 18 minutes a game, but gotten $200,000, but he would not have had the minutes and he wouldn't have been able to put the season together that he did this year. So I think he's going to be better. His career will be better for it with the decision that he made to sacrifice money to come to a place that's going to give him an opportunity to go out and play quality minutes. And it worked out for him and it worked out for Prairie View as well.
Coach, you mentioned that. What I heard you say, Coach, is that you had a player that was talented that you were able to develop on the court as they were playing. How important is that option? Is that, in other words, is that a major selling point to a kid that being given the opportunity to develop on the court with the lights on?
It all depends on what he's getting out of the household. Obviously, the parents play such a big role. And if they obviously believe in the head coach and what the head coach is selling or preaching, I think you got a great chance. A lot of kids, it's very hard for kids today's game to get better in the season because they kind of already feel like they're already there, right? I mean, it's kind of like, that old saying, the man who has all the answers probably didn't hear the question. So a lot of kids don't improve because they think that they've already arrived along because of these NIL agents, their trainers and things like that. And I'm not really trying to be critical, throwing anyone under the bus. I'm just telling you the world in which we live. Dante Horn was a rare guy that he was pretty good when he got there, but I just think through development and hard work and pushing him every day and not letting him take days off and take plays off, he was able to take his game to another level. So he got better as the season went on. And obviously we needed it. And he turned it on at the end and he was lights out. I think you guys saw it. I thought he was one of the best transfers at any level in college basketball this year. And he definitely was a godsend for us, without a doubt.
Coach, I just want to do one thing. I know we got to get you out of here, but
Mhm.
I just got to get on my soapbox, and this is my promotion for you.
Mhm.
I used to say this all the time at FAMU. When I would hear a kid go to one of those directional schools, something, LeClaire, Eastern Stevens Point, something, and like you said, I'm very familiar with Wisconsin. I had a friend used to go up there all the time, and these directional schools. And what cracks me up is they're going to go up there, they're not going to like it. And you're talking about, and this is my sales job, Prairie View. We're talking about taxes. Prairie View got one of the best business schools in the nation. You can get one of the students, the accountant student, to do your taxes, and I'm talking about do it right. You're talking about a lawyer. Prairie View has lawyers, judges, things like that they can refer you to. I'm talking about things that if we have a guy on that level, that we will make sure, because I know this for a fact, Coach. I'm sure you know this. You do this for your players that become alums. Hey, call Mr. Such and Such. He can help you with that. Call such a or alumni say, hey, Coach, you got a guy that needs this. I can help you with that. And that's the thing that Byron, when I see these kids go to these directional schools that are quote unquote on our level, and they don't get the same result that they would get from a FAMU, Jack State, Prairie View, Southern, et cetera, North Carolina A&T, but they go to directional school, and you know what they come back? Because I talked to a lot of people. Hey, Mr. Campbell, man, I should have went to FAMU. Yeah.
Right.
Not only that, when he go play for coach at Wisconsin Green Bay, and he played for a year, and then he come back, and he need a letter of recommendation, a job, or somebody to get him in, who's more likely to do it and connect him with somebody that's going to help him? Is it Coach Smith or Coach Gottlieb? What you think? Who's more inclined to help him?
Yep, there you go.
Smith, I'm gonna give you hold on, Rocky. I'm gonna give you one better for you. You said Doug Gottlieb.
I know the game. I know what's going
on.
No.
But I'm gonna use this point because I told Doug Gottlieb this personally. I said, let me tell you, you went to Oklahoma State,
right?
And I'm telling you right now that any of those black players can't go and look at another alumni and say, I want to be like that. That looks like them. Right. I told him that personally. And I said, it is far and few between that you'll find somebody that'll write a letter for those guys compared to somebody goes to FAMU. I told Doug Gottlieb that personally. Ain't nothing he could say because he was talking about when the kid came to Jackson State. You know what I mean? The cornerback that went to Colorado. What's the guy that won the Heisman, Rocky?
Travis Hunter.
And how dare he go there? And I'm like, man, you crazy. So my point of it is, Rocky, I just want to point that out because there's a lot. And I want these kids to hear what coach is saying is, you're going to get coached by a coach that cares. You're going to go to a university that cares. You're going to have alumni that cares. So I'm going to challenge all my HBCU alums and Prairie View folks. You know, I got to get at you again. You got a great coach. Let's get that NIL going for Coach Smith. Let's run that thing back for Coach Smith. Let's get this thing going. Now, Coach, you know I got Charlie Ward down there. Yeah. So we doing the same thing out at FAMU because we got to see y'all in the finals next year. I'm telling you that right now. We got to see you.
Hopefully we'll be there.
There you go.
Hey, Coach, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. This has been a tremendous interview. I appreciate your candor.
Yes, sir.
And the walk down memory lane, Coach Smith. That was that's been awesome for me. I can't wait to go and tell my wife I met somebody I went to junior college with, and they not on the police blotter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Hey, now you're doing fun for yourself there, Coach.
That's an inside joke that only he'll understand.
Right. There you go. Yes, sir.
But you had to go to junior college in the 80s to really understand what that joke is all about.
100%. Absolutely.
And Coach, this is a quick question from one of the people. He says, if a kid wants to transfer, are you open to accepting them? So, Absolutely. Coach, so before we go, there are kids that watch this show. How do they get in contact? What is the best way of them for them to see your tape or, their tape and things like that? How do they get in contact with you, Coach?
They can go to Prairie View website, and I'm on there. Go to the sports, obviously men's basketball, and my cell phone number, email address, everything's on there. So the Prairie View website will definitely be able to help them out and get in contact with us. But we're open and looking for quality student athletes because we got a lot of spots to fill. And definitely open to any player from any walks of life.
Hey, Coach Gill got a few players down there. You may want to give him a call.
I definitely will. I definitely, since you told me, I definitely reach out to Coach. I know Coach fairly well, so I definitely give him a call for sure.
No, yeah, hey, they had a really good season
Yes.
this year, and he had some really nice players, man. And
Mhm.
so, but no, Coach, I want to thank you again. Is there anything
Yes.
you want to close out with before we let you go, man?
Man, I just appreciate you guys having this. It's a quality show, and I wish you guys all the best moving forward. And thank you guys for the coverage, because you could have anybody on here, but I'm definitely honored to be a part of your show. But just to let everybody know that anything is possible with a belief in God. And obviously, it's not always what people call you; it's what you answer to. And then I live by that. But just keep working. And for all the young people out there listening, if you're a basketball player, if you're soccer, track, tennis, football, doesn't matter. You put your faith in God along with hard work, and anything's possible.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, man.
You guys take care. Thank you so much.
You,
okay.
Oh man, that's a great show right there, man.
See,
that was a great
y'all
show.
Listen, man, I'm gonna keep telling you, Coach, man, you got to listen to your boy Campbell, man. I'm trying to. Hey, listen, man, it's other things out there. I know we got the football coach, man. We got to get the basketball coach. I'm trying to tell you, Rock. Them basketball coaches come in there, bring it, boy.
You're right, man. And like I say, I'm astonished that we've been talking about this guy for a month, and we spent the dorm. We lived in the same dorm for a whole year, man. That's crazy. That's crazy,
oh, man.
I
You know what I'm excited about? Because again, when you have a coach like, and again, our basketball coaches are not as visible as our football coaches.
Absolutely.
Just because. But when you get a Coach Smith to come on here, and I mean, rock this thing, you know what I'm saying? From all levels, from coaching to NIL to what he did to get that team to a championship, man, that's a quality guy, man. That's my thing. What I love about HBCU Coaches Corner. I think you get to see coaches in another element. They're not in a press conference where it's just straight, and again, they got to be a little bit political.
Freely.
They speak freely. And some of the things that he talked about on the NIL and, analytics, I think that was very honest. You know what I mean? And I think that's, once again, some of the challenges, because you know what I hate? And me and Scotty used to get in this all the time. And he grew to learn. He's like, man, Mr. Campbell, I just want to see people play football. I just want to see people play basketball. I'm like, bro, at the HBCU, we carry a whole bunch of stuff before we can get to the field or to the basketball court. The thing that we have to deal with, but people expect us to have the same standard at a school down the street where they don't have to worry about all these things because they're already financially ready to go and they're, everything is good. But the thing to see that coach take Prairie View and say, hey, Rocky, he didn't have anybody on NIL. You hear what he said?
Yeah. I don't think he should have said that though, but I'm a.
Well,
This is my point. Because just like so this is my deal. You remember when Tremaine Jackson essentially said the same thing,
right?
This is the cheapest team you'll ever have at Prairie View. That's essentially what Coach Jackson was saying, is that there was no money invested in NIL. And my point in saying that is, I hope the administration doesn't get in the expectation of these guys having to try to do it without any NIL budget, because I think that's unreasonable to put them under that kind of pressure to try to win without an NIL budget. That's why I say I don't.
But I think that's more of, and this is why I looked at when I heard both coaches say this. And again, look at where they both were coming from. You know what I mean? Coach Smith, kind of treading water, trying to get the program back. Coach Jackson coming in their first year. But basically, it's like, we didn't have anything and we still made it happen. Now let's go and get it, and guess how much better we'll be. So that's the part that I say, I take it that way, is that these coaches now are saying, hey, you know what? I got this done without any NIL. So Prairie View 12 said, brass, go ahead and get your boys together, get all 12 y'all. Go on, cut that check, man. Cut that check. And I'm not saying that y'all don't, because I know y'all do, but it's time that y'all cut some extra checks.
For sure. Hey, I just put the link in there. We're gonna go 2 hours even and we got about 8 minutes. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, or you can talk about the interview that we just had with Coach Smith. So with no further ado, let me put my man. Let me get. Hey,
you got 2 minutes max.
All right.
And I'm
hey,
start the
Mr.
time.
Campbell, say you're on borrowed time.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm starting the clock. So hold on, right before you pull them up, and I'm gonna tell you when to start it.
Okay, got you.
2 minutes. Get in and get out. Because I ain't about to be arguing with you tonight. So get your point. All right, bring him up. Here you go. Just go.
He got to get out.
2 minutes. Question. What is the evaluation when it comes to meal prep for the athletes at HBCUs? Let's just use FAMU, for example. What is their budget as far as training tables for their meal plans in comparison to a Kent State? What does that look like?
Okay, so you said, what is our training table compared to did you say Kent State?
He said Kent State.
Okay, Kent
Yes,
State.
Kent State.
Now, I can't answer that. I know we do have a training table, which before we did not. I know Jack State didn't have a training table. What they do. I know several schools in the SWAC have training tables. And I know they're working to increase those. But the biggest thing was the fact to just get to that lift of getting a training table. Because, Rocky, this is what we talked about. Kids were hungry. Kids didn't have anything to eat. So, fam, all I can tell you, because I don't know the numbers, I don't want to even comment on what Coach is doing, but I will tell you this, Coach raised $300,000, and that's one of the things that he wants to focus on. He comes out to the FAMU folks and say, hey, our training table is not adequate enough. I guarantee you the FAMU people step up.
You know, that's an interesting dynamic, because I know, Steve, you were in college when I was in college at the same time, and food was a big deal. Food was a scarcity, to be honest with you. You know, and spending money on food, because, you know, hey, Coach reminded me of what we used to spend money on sometimes other than food. But my point is saying that it's really not a lot of money when you talk about improving the quality of life at some of these universities. Some of these things that you can do very, and when I say inexpensively, meaning that if you just had a training table, right, or add some type of catering service to, you know, when you had off-hour trainings or early breakfast or something like that, there are things that can be done that are quite innovative that don't cost a lot of money, especially around providing the quality of life.
But Rocky, I think it was important. How many times have we heard this, that food, just the simple thing, what you said, just something to eat. And that's one of the things our HBCU struggled at. So my thing is, we have identified this as an issue. This should just be in the budget from here on out for athletics, a training table. You know how many athletes you're going to feed. You know what's going to take. Like you say, is it going to be a morning, evening training table, you know what I mean? And then lunch is just regular with the students or whatever. But whatever they need to do, it is important. Because, Rocky, you talk about this. We had I think they had it down there. Used to be a place called Gumby's Pizza in Tallahassee. And if you ordered like 6 pizzas, they had these little free cards. You cut out the cardboard box. The 7 was for free. I would have so many football players. They would go, because people would throw the boxes out. The football players would go find the boxes, come. And I was one of the people that had a card my freshman year. I don't know how many football players I took to Gumby's Pizza just so them boys could eat. Just so them boys could have something to eat. I was like, man, where you find all them cards? Man, somebody threw it away. They didn't know to cut the box top out and stuff like that. So, man, so to your point, I think it's just so important that we focus on those things first. And then to coach them point, then get them the money. But the baselines, like you've always talked about, athletic trainers, feeding the kids, that's got to be non-negotiable, bro.
Hey, keep it up. You got one more, and then we're going to go to our last guy.
And you got a minute on this.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right, last question. I'll make this quick. What will it take as far as the budget for these HBCUs? Let's just use South Carolina State and Jackson State for an example, because I believe they're good enough to do this. What would be the budget to get these two teams to play the lower tier FBS teams like a UMass or a Charlotte or a Buffalo? What would be the plan for these HBCUs to go and compete versus these teams to be able to beat them? What is the budget and what does that look like? And how can we get this done? Because I believe that South Carolina State and Jackson State can beat a Charlotte, can beat
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.